what if, kind of like in the interim, like essentially we take over operating the building, which means we get all the revenues and stuff, but kind of have the CDC be like our property manager, and we give them free rent in lieu of giving them
That's
some
kind of
sort
what we
of...
were supposed to do before, but the problem being, none of the other stuff was followed up with. Nothing was maintained. Then when we took over, we had to go in there and spend money that we didn't budget. So that is an option. We'll figure out the logistics.
I just feel like we need to look after the building.
It doesn't, I mean, we tried it, it didn't work because of the volunteerism aspect of it,
Yeah.
right? The CDC board is volunteer,
Yeah.
they don't want to have to deal with the sewage backup. If a sewage backup
And they
comes,
shouldn't.
Yeah.
you know, the right answer lies with our maintenance director looking after it, and unfortunately that's vacant right now.
There's somebody
Sunny
covering that.
All right.
Sam and his guys, take care of that.
Handle it, Sam.
4.6, payroll and accounts.
Basically, we require a resolution to approve KRC accounts in the amount of $33,802.50, general checks of $6,605.09, and payroll number 22 at $107,574.
Another payroll, your favorite.
At least we're not doing 17 of the member row.
Nope.
Yeah. Okay, and no issues, I'm sure, with that. We'll move that forward for resolution. 4.7, we're going to the Grey Cup. Woohoo!
This was something that was brought forward about some tickets available to the public. And we believe the town of the Fall was involved in this as we sponsored the Grey Cup, the hosting of the Grey Cup here and stuff. Jen had come up with a very good recommendation that maybe we should look at the PAW community renewal and maybe assist them and let them promote this on everybody's behalf.
I think it's wonderful, so long as we're not involved in it. I think it's great. I just
There
think
you go.
back to the discussion we had in the previous council on hockey tickets. And I just see this has got hockey tickets written all over it, and I don't want to have anything to do with it.
Regardless, it's still going out to the public. We'll just nicely assist them and help them get it out there. At least we're like this and...
I just had one quick thought. I was thinking about it today. Is there any way that we could contact some of the not-for-profit organizations in town and see if they could come up with it?
Your own accommodation costs for socio-technically.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I don't know. I just think that we're handing it over to TPCRC
Yes,
to
because they
do
were the
what?
ones that jointly did it with us.
Oh, okay.
That's the reason why Jen had selected them. The Paw Community Renewal Corporation and the town of the Paw hosted this together.
Yep.
And we're saying kind of like, whoa, we don't necessarily want to be involved in this aspect of it. But because of the nature of what they do, I believe it would be better for them to go ahead and do it.
Okay. I just do feel like it could be an income generator.
It's a last-minute thing, too.
It was a very last minute.
Hey.
It's
You could
super
sell
last minute.
tickets, like you could...
Well, I just
Let's
think
say you
like whatever.
donated 2 tickets to like Rotary or something, and then Rotary has a
I
raffle.
sure don't want to be the ones that do that.
And raffle
Because
it
you've
off.
got so many groups, how do you pick? That's why the sooner you give it to an organization.
Well, I had a thought on that too, but I don't know. Like, I'm sure there's clubs that I don't think there's going to be 10 clubs lining up for those tickets. I don't know. Or 5 clubs.
Ryan?
I was just wondering, could we partner up with, say, the radio station with some of them, not necessarily all of them, and let them run some sort of a promo and a draw, because part of it is the people that get the things you want, you know, they have to be able to go there, they have the time, they have to have the resources, all that stuff. So at least that way, we might get a little bit of PR out of it as a town, and they get to give away, say, 4 tickets, and then the others go to another.
You know what? I think our PR line in this is we gave all 10 tickets to the TPCRC, and they arranged something with the radio station. It was a big, huge, happy time.
And you pretty much have a 2-week span. That's why we're
have no time.
Let's put your name in a draw. You know.
Do we have
George
to give
Snyder's
away?
going to go to the Grey Cup on a beer
Do we have to
rail
give away
trip.
all
That's
10?
what's
Do we have to give away all 10? Keep a couple? Oh, we only got 8.
Okay. Is that what we're doing? Sending it off to the
Yes.
We'll
TPCRC?
assist them by all means and
Yeah,
string that out.
yeah, absolutely.
I will, because I'm a part of that. I will assist them with it.
Okay, let's move on. Personnel, return for
Sorry,
service.
just
Sorry.
one. We have a TPCRC board meeting tomorrow night. Staff is a little bit dynamic right now.
I was thinking that
I am
too.
a little bit concerned that, make the offer. What happens if they turn around and go, we can't pull that off?
All I'm
in 2
looking
weeks
for is
here."
someone to host it with a drop-off box.
You know
Along with the
what?
rest.
What if I say that I will look after doing it? Am I allowed to do that? On behalf of the town, I will take the tickets, I will talk to the radio station, I will talk to the newspaper, I will set up draw bins at a couple of different various business locations, and we will do the draw and we can announce it. And it won't be work for you guys.
It's not even a matter of work. That wasn't the issue.
Whole perception thing.
Yeah. That was why we were kind of backing out of it.
What if we offered?
We'll talk to the radio and do the draws live on the radio. We'll get the radio people to do it. People won't be able to come back and say, and like I said, I mean, I can talk to places like Funky Threads and Grub Box and some of the businesses and have draw buckets there.
I guess fair enough if no one from the town of Paw has anything to do with entering any draw.
I'm not entering. I promise you that.
Okay.
I'm entering. No, I'm just kidding.
If I pull Chad Zielinski on the radio, I'm
Yeah.
just gonna read some, I'm just gonna say some random
Just,
name.
just say it
You
differently.
say Chad, I meant
I
Lauren.
personally would have liked to have seen the Paw community renewal and do a spoof on a joint thing, but it's whatever you guys want to do.
I'm just, I can see
Yeah,
Andrew's
I'm not-
concern
it's-
just
it's
from
not that I-
having been
It's not that I
in
don't
that
think
position
they
before.
won't. I just, seriously, it's a big question mark for me. It is a short time frame. There is an
require
interim
time and
executive
effort.
director at the moment. Maybe, yeah, it's a quick phone, maybe phone Krista and or Kayleen or send an email and just say, hey, are you in or not? I mean, if
And
they,
they've
if they,
also-
Basically,
they-
a swap.
they may just go-
Promo stuff, like, we
yeah,
had no
sure.
problem with it, but we just didn't
I
want to
just,
host with it.
I just wanted to make sure that if it turns out that like, oh no, this person's away for the next week and I'm away, then that we're not scrambling to try and find something to do. Check with TPCRC first, maybe they're all over it, right? Like, don't get me wrong, I just want to make sure that there's a plan B if plan A doesn't go.
That's all it was now.
Extended.
I think the reason they chose this because
Makes good sense, and they may be all over it, and they may be fine. I just, in case there wasn't, I didn't want to have, end up with 1,000 long threads of emails here going off in several directions tomorrow. Pan out.
It was TPCRC that they contacted.
Yeah.
And then Krista contacted.
So let's find out. So we got a plan A and a plan B. Perfect.
And the trivia question should be, what was resolution
Yeah.
from September 17th? council
three
meeting?
applicants.
Yeah.
The question.
Answer that question,
Yeah.
then you get your tickets.
What year was the town incorporated?
There you go.
Alrighty.
1920.
Okay, so now we're gonna,
Now we can go on.
now we'll go on to personnel return for service.
Professional development has been a big thing within our organization, and I think we all stand firm on the whole idea of a return for service. We have some managers that have been going through and will be going through some significant training. So I want a policy that goes forth that basically is giving a return for service. But I would also like to add a clause that says any training that goes beyond $10,000 in total, that we look at a separate buyback agreement. What I'm saying is you basically got to give us back over 6 months of completion, 100% repayment. Like if you leave within 6 months of taking your course, you pay us back 100%. 12 months, 75%, 18 months, 50%, 24 months, 25%. So basically we're saying you got to give us 2 years of service without, or you have to pay us back. I think this is something that this is long overdue, and I believe this is progressive moving forward.
And that's for courses in excess of $10,000 investment.
No, courses in excess of 10,000 is going to require a separate agreement, because in 2 years' time, that would.
This is just for any training course.
This
you
is
do.
like for any kind of certifications, any kind of significant training. Like we have a lot of this training that can easily cost us 25 to 3 grand.
Okay.
There should be some input from the employee taking that. Sure. Because we're training them to be better at their job so that they can go to the next job.
Are we gonna have like a minimum, like like say somebody goes and takes like a $50 course and they don't.
Yeah,
stay
that's
for 6
not
months.
even-
Okay,
yeah.
is that it? I read the policy, but I can't
Yeah,
remember
we
if
didn't
there
put a
was like a
minimum on there,
minimum.
we're looking at significant courses, like, and it wouldn't be a convention, like a 2-day convention.
Right.
That's not necessarily bettering your education to move somewhere else,
Right.
right?
I'm just wondering if maybe we should add like a minimum.
We could,
Yeah, because we don't want them to have to
Yeah.
pay for WMIS or.
Yeah,
So-
right.
but we're talking certifications here.
Yeah.
Notice and those things do not.
Yeah,
come
that's
under
just-
certification.
Okay.
So I think that's probably why there is no minimum on
Okay,
that.
well, that,
Because if you're
Jody.
paying them for something better.
Can I just add a comment? Like, it may not even be the cost of the course. It's good to get them to sign a commitment because it may be that the person's going to be away from the desk now and we're paying them to be away for the next 3 months of salary.
Yeah.
Maybe it only costs $1,500 for the course. So you got to.
No, that's a very important point.
Whenever there's a return for service, each one would be, looked at separately.
Yeah.
Right.
so do we,
Yeah.
would we apply any of those costs?
I think you'd have to. I think, I mean, if
Wages
if
and
you are away for
your
2 months,
hotel.
there's your salary, plus we paid you to be somewhere else, plus we, I think it all gets added in.
There were certain things that couldn't be, was there not?
Well, there's things that can't be, like you can't add in salary and everything like that, but if it is like, say, where the person is going to be gone for a significant amount of time, even if the course is $100, that's why I would just suggest not putting a minimum in there. At least then, if they go and take the course and then say, hey, I'm out of here, I got a job at McDonald's now, and they walk out the door, at least they have to pay back. We didn't make that investment in the actual cost of the course.
That's a
as
good
well.
point.
Okay.
That's a
You know,
good
that's
point.
if you just leave it open, because if you go and put the minimum, what's your minimum going to be, $500, $1,000? Like, if somebody came here and was here for 2 months and leaves,
Yeah.
they should pay back every penny. Like,
Yeah.
that's just my point.
No, it's a good point. Okay, so no minimum. Brian?
I'm playing a little bit devil's advocate here. It just dawned on me, would there be any issues or problem if someone chooses not to sign off on this, and therefore, maybe they not suited for the job any longer, if they don't take it, and how do we deal with those things?
Basically, if we as the town of Park and offer the training, and we're going to pay for the training, I think you as an employee, including myself, should have some skin in the game too. And if I'm not going to be continuing in that job, then, hey, you just train me again for the next job for me to even be better. Because I just got this certification because the town of Flip-Flop paid for it. If you're not suited for it, that's a manager's problem in enabling you to go and take the training. If you're a little concerned, you shouldn't be paying that kind of money in investment in an employee.
Okay, anything else? All right, let's move on then. 6.1, storage rates at the airport airside.
Basically what it is storage rates have been compared, and we've not increased our storage rates out at the airport for cold storage indoor or outdoor since 2009. So what she's done is pretty much increased $10 a month across the board. So we require a resolution for that.
Okay, so, again, is that so what are we saying, in 6 years, we're gonna look at raising it another $10?
No, what we're going to probably
Like,
be
I
doing
mean-
is, as we're going, how we've been our average 3% our COLA percentage. This is just bringing us on par because we know we're going to have some expenses this coming year out there.
Okay. If we fill those places up, like the indoor?
Yeah, we are. If we had money, it'd be nice to expand and do even more.
Okay.
Is there any way, rather than putting a dollar figure, we could look at passing something that stands the test of time and say, it increases by 3% every year or 2% or whatever, and a figure that way, so that it automatically reflects the ongoing expenses that always happen, as opposed to, because I know what it'll happen, it'll be 5 or 10 years out and we'll have another big hit.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's
I mean, if we do 3% a year for, let's say, a 4-year deal or something, that people
Can we
know.
do the $10 and say
There was-
moving forward?
Yes.
And after that?
Pardon me?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that way we've empowered
Can we
them
do
to
that
just
for
do
like
it.
5 years or something? And
Do the $10 a month and
And
then
review it
save
5 years.
3% from
Yeah,
now on.
Yeah.
Future year.
I think that's fair. Anybody else have a problem with that?
Yeah, and 5 years, at which time it'll be reviewed.
Okay,
That way they're not getting shot.
okay. Equipment rates, 6.2.
Basically, the airport, we've done this in the town of the Paw, where we've increased our rates to be that of the Heavy Construction Association rates, so that we're not competitive. The airport isn't. So what we're doing is, to be consistent with the town, we want to increase the rates out there to reflect the same. What they do as equipment rates is they do some grading for the cottagers. There's times where just local in that little vicinity, people ask for additional work to be done.
Okay, so is there a,
We need a resolution. Let's say we go with the Heavy Equipment Association rates.
okay. Anybody have a problem with that?
I just had a question.
Okay.
What do we rent exactly?
We rent our gentlemen on the equipment. The
grader.
Yeah.
So we rent out the
Grader,
grader and the
loader.
driver, and away they go, as an example.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So right now, we're charging 140 per hour? That's according to,
Yeah.
I think it's 140
That's what the
now.
memo says.
that's what the memo says, okay. So, are they doing their own billing, all that kind of sort of thing out at the airport? Like-
Yeah, Shawna bills it as accounts.
And it's part of their revenue, right?
Yep.
No,
Revenue
no,
generated.
no. It's being billed here,
We bill it out of here, yes.
and we're using different rates? for-
Correct, because
okay.
they have a resolution that states it there.
Sure.
And what we wanted is to be consistent across the board, to be all.
To be same
And
as-
part of the reason at one point is we were competing against our local
Yeah.
contractors, and that's not what the business we're in.
No.
We should be last resort or, yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay? Everyone's okay with that? All right. Deputy Mayor, please move us in camera.
There's one more agenda
Oh.
item there, Mr. Mayor.
Oh, the fine imposed by Transport Canada. Duh, how did I scoop over that one?
I have no clue.
Gee.
So basically, as you're aware, I've been in conversation with Transport Canada as it relates to the caps that we still have outstanding. We did not budget this year for any of those kind of costs, nor did we budget to be having to spend that much money on the additional caps. We look at about $36,000 to $40,000 that we're going to need to come up with within the next month and a half. Audrey is looking at recouping some of these costs in our 2016 budget. We have no choice. We have to do this. There's just no options. We need to comply. So we're looking at charging for de-icing and fueling services, implementing the parking fee in the early spring, increase the equipment rental rates, renewal of leases. We're hitting again with the storage. We're doing everything in our power to try and cover those costs. But we want you to be aware, and there's going to be a resolution coming forward. We do need to get on some of this stuff because we need to pass our caps by the end of January 2016. This again was not things that we had budgeted for in 2015, as we didn't know of all of these deficiencies. So just so you are aware of that.
Okay.
We are hoping at the end of the day, by meeting all these caps, the province is going to, or the federal government is going to come down and say, okay, you've proved we can do this, and we're crossing our fingers in hoping they're not going to fine us. If they do, there's not a whole lot we can do about it, but we still have to comply.
Yeah.
So,
And a lot of this compliance, if you could see, is additional training. It's getting an inventory done, like having an outside party, which is part of the program or part of the process of having a federal airport, is you have to hire an independent company to come in and do an assessment of our airport. And they basically do an interim budget on it too. Like, what do you need future-wise? Where's our plans? Like, these are all things that need to be done.
Well, some of these things, are they annual kind of reoccurring things, or is the bigger gap? Is it going to be an
Some will
annual budgetary item that has to come up as well?
Some will be, but some of them should have been maintenance, Brian, to be honest. Like, some of them should have not cost this much. With regular maintenance along the ways, we could have probably been budgeting, like, say, $6,000 for crack filling, rather than it costing us $30,000, right? So a lot of this, once we get that maintenance program in place over the years, this is going to be just operating costs going forward. More maintenance, rather than all of a sudden we're almost paying like a capital cost for pretty
Right,
much
yeah.
redoing stuff. So we're hoping by the end of January to be on par, but we know we're going to be over budget, and that's not going to be a surprise.
One last question, is there any slippage in this year's budget to pick up some of those costs?
The only slippage isn't, it isn't going to be
It's
very
slipping.
far.
Oh, the
It's gonna be
color's
slipping
wrong,
in it all
okay.
right.
Yeah.
Wrong color of ink?
Yeah,
Well-
it's just not a good situation,
Looking
but
the wrong way,
what
right?
do you do?
Yeah, okay. Well, that was,
Yeah.
That was sunshine and lollipops.
sure was.
So we're gonna probably say, basically, a resolution for up to $40,000 to meet the cap requirements.
Okay. All right.
And
those are
there's no
outlined in here in
guarantee that if
36.
we do those, we
There's no
won't
guarantee on
actually
nothing.
get smacked with
We-
the
we
$25,000
might still get-
We were lucky enough to get a little bit of chapstick so far that they
They've,
cut a bit out for us.
They have,
That's wrong.
they've been wanting to work with us.
they
So,
have.
you know, I think that's a very good sign.
They
They've
have been
wanting to
very
work
good.
with us. They haven't been wanting to fight or anything like that, so it's, I think it's a good sign. Okay? Anything else? All right.
All right,
Deputy Mayor?
be it resolved that we now do move ourselves into the in-camera portion of the committee of the whole with Mayor Scott and the chair to discuss matters requiring our attention.
Brian?
I do have an issue with regard to the in-camera agenda, as I'd mentioned earlier. Let me just flip to it, because I forget what the, in-camera, it was the first item, the 101,
Special
and
service
I can't speak of the item because it's on an in-camera agenda, but I just felt strongly that this is something that we could be, and should be discussing in the public realm. We're here to represent our community. We are our community and speaking for them, so I just can't see anything we'd be discussing that couldn't or shouldn't be done in a public forum.
We'll be discussing all of this in an open forum quite soon. Any other discussion? Okay, well, then let's go in camera.